Okay, I'm recording the session. Today is really basically the last session. You know, there won't be any more sessions. I would like to make sure that we clarify what's gonna be on the exam. The exam will be on Sunday, the written exam. And then everyone in certificate one, we assign 15 minutes. So everybody had to register. We start at 3 o'clock, the written exam. The written exam should be about half an hour. People should really know that material very well. I went over the questions at the time. We went over that. I went over that, so, and I made some corrections. They will have half an hour at 3 o'clock exactly up to 3:30. And so everybody has to, let's say if somebody is doing it from a distance like Fazio and Mark, let's make sure that there will be quarter 2, 3 already connected. And they can download the questionnaires, right? And let's say 5 minutes before 3, and the same for Mark. And every student should be in the room by 3 o'clock ready to take the exam. So they have to come quarter 2, 3. Okay, 3:30 sharp, we're collecting the results. So whoever is doing it from distance can send the questionnaires to my email or your email. We'll write it down exactly to what to send it, okay? And how to send it to. Let's put it in this way. Everybody will write his name, will have a place, his name, and we'll send it to my email. Let me write my email. I think everybody can see my screen. So everybody send it to my email. I'll write it down here.
No, it's Brendan.
And then at 4 o'clock, we start at 4 o'clock for questions. This is my email. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let me make it bigger so you can guys see it. So everybody has to send it to this email. So let me write it so it will be clear and it's also recorded so everybody can see it. The exam, I will already write written exam. Exam will be at 3 o'clock sharp, but everybody has to be in touch quarter 2 on Sunday. And I think Sunday, what's the date on Sunday? I'll tell you exactly. Sunday the 9th, May 9th. Sunday, May 9th. (2021). And after the written exam at 4 o'clock, we start the oral exam, okay? And at 4 o'clock, based on the schedule, we give a schedule. Everybody has to register. Daniel, why don't you organize it, okay?
Yes.
On the student of certificate 1, you assign 15 minutes to every student, okay? I basically will ask 2 questions. They will have to show on their computer and about 10 minutes. I will keep about 5 minutes. Let's do 20 minutes, 20 minutes between each one. I'm trying to keep it within 10 minutes, but maybe we'll take another extra 5 minutes. So assign them like 4 o'clock, 4:20, 4:40, and 5. I think there's about 6 students, and we'll finish it in an hour and a half top, okay? But everybody has to be in the exam, okay? And I will ask 2 questions to just get an impression of the level of the student actually showing me the code and understanding the code. That's where we start at 4 o'clock. The written exam you send to this email, to my email, exactly at 3 o'clock, 3:30. Okay, at 3:30, you're sending the written exam to my email. I hope that's clear. Is that right, everybody? Questions? I think that's clear. Okay.
Doctor.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
So you're saying that we should send the written exam at 3:30.
They can download it exactly. They will get it at 3 o'clock. Exactly at 3 o'clock, they can download it. I will put it, we can put it in the Academy City. We can put it on the WhatsApp. We can send it on the WhatsApp. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or we'll do it both ways. So whether, so nobody will have, we're not trying to have anyone fail to receive it on time. So I will send it on the WhatsApp. We'll put it on the WhatsApp, okay? And we also put it in Academy City, okay? So it will be upload. Let me show you where we will put it. So every student will be able to find it. But we'll put it also in the WhatsApp. So everybody can download it from the WhatsApp. And we don't want anybody to put even 2 minutes to 3, so at 3 o'clock, it will be right there. And if I go to the course, I put it right in the main page. You see that? I put
Yes.
the questions right on the very top, so it will be very clear. Let me even show how it's going to look like. I'll put it right in here, right on the top. So there won't be, you get to the first page, it'll be right there. And I'll put it right here. I'll write exam. And when you click on it, you download it, okay? Make it big, it will be big, kind of like that, okay? And you click on it, and you can download the exam. Fair enough? It will be right in here, okay? I will do more than that, just to clarify. It will be, say, exam, May 9, 2021. Fair enough? So I think this is when you click on it, you can download it. Fair enough? I think half an hour is quite enough time, and everybody should. It's multiple choices, so you should really know it very quick. Fair enough? Good. So that's one thing. And then right after that follows 4 o'clock, we will start the oral exam. Good. More questions, guys? We'll put it here and we'll put it also in the WhatsApp. So you'll be able to download it right from here as well. Whatever convenient to you. Put it in the same time. More questions, guys? Good. More questions? Or can we start the session? Good, thank you. Fezio, is Fezio still with us? Hello?
You know, he has gone now.
Huh?
He has gone now.
Yeah, he was with us a second ago.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe the network issue.
Who is else with us? Yeah, I see Mark. Just joined us. Hi, Mark.
I am on sorry.
Very good. I just gave the instructions on the exam, so you will be able to just follow that up. Basically, we'll do the written exam on Sunday, 3 o'clock. And it's only half an hour, very short. And then at 4 o'clock, we do the oral exam at 4 o'clock. It's only really 10 to 15 minutes questions, only 2 questions, just to see how you control the code and the program, deep billings. I'll put the emphasis on deep billings. I will not get into the game store. I will focus only in the exam on deep billings, okay? That's the only things that I will require that you guys will know. The game store, it's not really that crucial. A lot of the stuff we do slightly different in certificate 2. So I think focusing on what we learn in the course and then on the deep billings applications. Okay, and then when you finish, by the way, when you finish the exam at 3:30, written exam, or we should really write that it goes up to 3:30 p.m. And then you send it to my email. I'm missing an S here. And you just send it to my email. I will upload that, I will send a link to this video. So you can have that one, or you can take pictures of that. Okay, the exam we will send in the WhatsApp, and also I will put it right here on the main page of Academy City website of that course, of the course. So when you go to the course, you can find it right in here. Good, questions, guys? Good. Okay, so I would like to really spend the day, the rest of the day, going over the deep billings, answering your questions, guys. Go ahead. Anybody would like? Mark, Daniel, is Belinda and I saw Mildred there.
Oh, that was Jonathan.
Ah, okay. So Mark, do you have any questions? You'd like me to go over some specific issues on the deep billings program? Feel free, this is a good time. That's what we're doing, the review. Mark, do you want to ask questions? Do you want to show you, maybe you can, or anybody else? Daniel, what do you think?
Yes, Doctor.
I really recommend that they would focus on the deep billings. I know that you guys covered with them also on the deep billings, so I thought
Yes.
not to do the exam today, just give them another chance to Sunday. And then I think everybody had the chances to catch up.
Yes.
I think the deep billings is quite, let me just review finally the program of the deep billings. As you guys know, that for any applications, stage number one, as we went over that so many times, every application has to be written, and that you must know in the setting. So deep billings appears right in here. You can tell, has to be in the base of the setting. Second things must be in the URL of the project. This is the URL of the project. I can close the whole apps. These are the traits. It's the project. And under that, we have the URLs. And under the URLs, we do have a link to the billings applications. That's the first one. Second things that we have to have when we go to the billings applications, in the URLs, we have all those kinds of links. We have gone through a lot of them last time, and I tried to show you how you can do the same things for the items. Very similar program as we did for the customers, okay? And we started last time, and I think we continued with Daniel and Brenda on how to do this one. But let me go and review again. What do we see here? We have an index. So when we start this program, when we start the program, by the way, this is the one we kind of started a new application, but if I go to the deep billings, I will get to here, and that's the application itself. If you go into the customers, we get that table. How do I get that customers list? Very simple. As you know, it's really by I get to the index. How do I get the index? Very simple. Get into the D billings. That's why we put the D billings here. When I write D billings, I get to the main applications of the D billings. That takes me to the in. How do I know? Because there's nothing after the D billings. One more time. If you see the URL of the projects, I went over this so many times because it's so crucial. Under the D billings, that takes me to the application itself. There's nothing after that one. That means when I get to the billings in the URLs, I go to the first one that has nothing after the beginning and nothing before the end. It's empty. So you get me to this one. This is my index one. In the index, I don't really do anything. I only give the index HTML. And this one, it's sitting in the templates, the billings, and here is the index. So this is the main page. Very simple one. It's really empty, has nothing in it. Just say, welcome to the billings apps today. And when this one is just adding more buttons, items, customers, and let's see how do we see that screen here. It's right here. You can tell, main, customer, and items. So, but when I click on customers, it automatically adds the customers here, meaning that I'm getting to this one now. This time, we're really going to, no, not this one, sorry. I go to this URL, and this time it goes to this link, the customer list. So it goes to this view function. So what it really does, it's very simple. It's take the customer table, you can tell, and how do I know it's a customer table? You can say from models, import customer, and customer is a table. So if I do Control B on this one, it will take me to the definition. You see, it's in the models file. I really do expect in this stage of the course that everybody know what the models is about. The models is really building up tables. And here's these tables, we put all our customers. Good? So we have customer number, first name, last name. This is all the information we're putting in this table. Okay, so we get all the customers.objects. It's very important. We always use it in Django. I putting that all, it's really reading all the rows in that table. That's really what it does. So I'm taking all the rows, I'm giving it a name in Python. Please remember that, very crucial. The name inside the view is customer. I usually like to put the underscore just to distinguish it from variables I transfer to the template. One more time. This is the variable of the list of all the customers in Python. But I'm transferring this variable under a different name to the template. This is the name of the template, and in a minute we're going to look at it. What am I transferring to there? The list of all the customers. Here I have a list of all the customers. Every customer has a row. Customer number, first name, last name, according to the way we define it right in here. I hope everybody is clear on that one. If you don't, please let me know. This is a good time of really understanding the way it works. Questions, guys? Take your time. This is why we're doing a review today. You doing good, Mark? You okay, Michael? You with us? Good. Now,
yes, I'm with you, and I feel like Mark has something to say, maybe.
I didn't hear. Go ahead, Mark. I can't hear him. Yeah, here, now I can see. Your microphone. Yeah, go ahead. Your microphone is off.
Yeah, actually, what I wanted to understand about the billings is the table, the database table.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I wanted to get more information about it.
Yeah, see, we build up the tables in the modules. We have one table for customers. We made one table, we called it invoice. We made one table called item. And we made one table, we called it invoice item. We have 4 tables. But in here, the one that I focused mostly is on the customer table. Now you say, let's ignore those functions for now. Let's ignore this one. And I'm focusing only on those 3 lines. In these 3 lines, we define 3 columns in the customer table. It's like we have a table with 3 columns. One column is customer name, number, one is first name, and the other column is last name. And when I have a table with 3 columns, I can add customers. Every row will represent a customer. That's the definition of that table. Let's ignore for now this one. Let's ignore that. We might use them later on. But for now, I want to focus only on this one. After the table is being filled, and we'll see how we fill it up, after it's filled in, okay, I can call all the rows. I can see what is filled up inside this customer table by calling objects.all. A customer is an object in Python. And when I call objects.all, I get all the rows of the customers. I hope that's clear. Is that okay, Mark?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Very good. So now when I have all the list, by the way, this is, I'm in Python now. When I'm in Python, the name I gave it is customers underscore. And that variable, I'm transferring to the customers variable, which is inside the template. One more time, I'm connected to the table, pulling all the rows and want to transfer it to the template. But I'm going a middle step in the middle. I'm giving it a name in Python. And that name, I'm changing it because usually I usually like to put it the same name, but in Python I put underscore. And when I'm in the template, I take the underscore out just for convenience for myself. But basically, the word customers I'm going to use inside this template to show the list of the customers. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to open this template. Fair enough so far? So let's open the template. And I'm going to open it. And if I look at here, there's a lot of things here. You know, I put a title, I put another button. Let's ignore those ones. They are less important for me in this point. What's really important for me, it's this part, this segment of the code, okay? Let me, where is it? What happened? Yeah, here it is. You know, I intentionally kind of closed it. This is the segment I'm going to talk about. So let's see what this is all about. It is a table, you can tell. And the table has a header. This is really like the first row of the table. And in the first row of the table, I put it under the T head. And usually T head might have a nice formatting, different color for the first row. And in here, I put it, the first column will have a sign number. The next one I'm going to say customer number. The next one I'm going to say view. Then I'm going to say update, going to say detail. So you can look at this segment of the table. It's for the first row only, okay? I usually like, in fact, to put it in the same line for some reason. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. When I look at here, you see the first row? This is the first row. And the first row, the first column, I put the number, then I call it customer name, I call it view, I call it update, I call it delete. This is only for the first row. That's what we see right in here. I hope that's clear. This is the part in which I put the first row. So far, so good? You doing good, Mark?
Yeah.
Beautiful. See, I haven't used the customers yet. Now I get to the important part. That's the body of the table, okay? The body of the table. That's what I have the for loop, okay? And what do I have in the for loop? I have a new row. By the way, let me make it look a little different, slightly, so it'll be easier to follow. See, as I had a row here, TR is for the row. By the way, this is just make the row look nice in the sense, you put a blue, in fact, it should really change the color, but it didn't. It's okay, let's leave it. Probably I don't have the library attached, okay, but let's ignore that because the T head changed the color to a green. So I expected, if we can take this one out, it won't make a difference. Okay, or what I really wanted to emphasize, this is TR is a row. We have only one row for the head. This one, TH, is really for the head for every column, if you notice in the first row. Now I have a row, and this is a nice trick. We have a nice row for every row in the customers table. I repeat, for every row in the customers table, we're going to make one row in the table. What do I mean? If you look at the table here, see I have one row here, I have another row here, a second. So I have several rows in the table, in the database. It means we'll show you how do I add the names there, how do I add more rows, okay? But for now, I have all those rows in the table. We already put them there. For each row, in the table, I'm adding another row in the HTML here. And what am I going to put there? In the first one, I'm putting the ID, the customer number. Then I'm going to put the first name and the last name. Then I'm putting a button, and a button. How do I see that? Let's look at it again. The first one shows me the customer number. The next one showing me the first name and the last name. You see that? First name, customer.first name, and the customer last name together in that one. So that's really what we see here. The first one is the number, and then we have first name plus best name. By the way, this is probably in fact, I can really change it. I will change it in a minute, okay? But I have Jimmy, I have Michael. You can see Opio, Daniel, okay? All those we put in the data before. So for each one in the database, I take first name and last name and take the number and plug them here now. These ones are only buttons, you can tell. How do I know those are buttons? Very simple. The A is a link, okay? And the link, if I put a little styling, which we have in this case, okay? That's why I have the span here has a class. That makes it looks like a nice button, okay? But that's really not for this class. Next semester, we focus on that much more. Make it a nice view button, okay? So I know this is a button because it has an A with a nice span that makes it look like a button. This one also an A with a span that makes it looks like a button. Okay, let me put it that way, it looks better. So we have really 3 buttons. When we click on them, something does happen. When I click on the view, something happened. When I click on update, something happened. When I click on the delete, something happened. Let's start with the update, so I can really update this one, okay? Let's see. When I click on the button update, something does happen. Let's click on it, see what happened, and then we'll explain. By the way, I would like to change it. Last name of Brenda is Esio. I think she's Esio Brenda, in fact. I think this is her first name. So I'm correcting it. And I'm updating. Okay? I can see her name is updated. I go back to the list and here we go. SEO pointer is being updated. It was updated in the database. Okay? Good. Now we have really the data have been updated. Who did the work? That button. So let's understand how this button works. Okay, how this button works? Very simple. Okay, we'll do it also for the other buttons as well. When you click on this one, since it is in an A, which is a link, we have to look at the href. This is telling me what happened when I click on the button. What happened when I click on the button? It tells me, go to the dbillings application, meaning go to the URL files of the dbillings application. So, and then I will talk about this one. So step number one, it says, when you click, the program is going to go to this file. See that? Mark right here in the dbillings application. And when you go to the dbillings, the URLs of the dbillings, go to this link. Okay, what do I mean? I go and look up for the name. Look at the name. Don't look at this one. Look at the name. So it says update customers. I found the update customers, and that means go to these links. What does it really mean? That means go to this view. All of those in the middle of every link, it's the views. We went to the customer, the index before, we went to the customers. Now we're gonna go to this one, the update customer. I do Control B, I get there. So far so good. I hope everybody, it's clear. In the customer list, I'm going one more time. What I do in here, and Django does the work for us. That's the hardest part. We do a link. When somebody click on it, it says, go to the billings application, to the URLs file. This is the URL files. And when you go there, go to the link with this name. When I go here, I look for this name, update. Here we go, here's the update. See that? That means go to this view. Do whatever it's in this view. So I go Control B and I look at that and here it is. By the way, I mentioned to you guys that usually I don't like to use a update classes. Okay, but I just wanted to show it to you. As you progress, you might see other people use it. And the only things which is really nice about the update views, it creates the form, it does the whole work for you. And you don't have to think about it too much. What do I mean by that? All what you have to do is say, put the table you want to update, write the name of the table, write inside which field do you want to update. The only field I want to update is the first name and last name. And then you can tell me which template do you want me to open. And I tell him, please open the table called Customer Update Forms. So I go to there. In fact, if you look at that, Customers Update. Anybody found it here? Customer, here we go. That's all what I have to do. It will do the whole work for me. That's amazing. It is beautiful. It does the whole work for me automatically. I personally do not like the automatic, okay? So I would like mostly this kind of style. So I'm not gonna ask too much about this one in the exam. I will ask you about this one, okay? So for now, I just will mention some people like the views. Sometimes I do use them, very rarely, because although they do a lot of magic automatically, this one, everything is more explicit. So it's easier for me to know exactly what's happening. Here, I have to dig in sometimes. I strongly stay away from it. For the delete might be a good one, but for update, okay, in fact, you will see in certificate 2, We don't use even the forms. We use Ajax. So this is really less important, but I would like you to be exposed. I'm not going to ask about this one in the exam. I'm going to ask about this one, and I'm going to go over it in a second. Because this one we usually do it with Ajax, and next semester we'll spend more time on Ajax style. Okay? So the bottom line is making me the form automatically. That's why I put this template. If you look at this template, by the way, well, it's really quite simple. Really almost have nothing. You just put a div for container. You put a form as a standard. By the way, it really is like a standard. So those two rows, they're quite a standard, those two. And inside, you really have nothing. By the way, all of that, it's a standard when you use a view. That's why it looks so simple. But I don't like it, I'll be honest with you. Okay? And you put an input to submit. So that's why you have two buttons, submit and cancel. You were saying it means I will show it again. Let me show it again. When I click on the update, you're getting a form. I will explain that one in a second. And you have two buttons, one to update and one to cancel. Who does the update and who does the cancel? Right in here. This is, by the way, the update, because it says value update. Give me a button for update. And this is a button for cancel because the value it says cancel. This one is what makes the magic. And I don't like to do it this way. So let me, you know what, let me skip it. I'm not gonna ask you about it in the exam. In the next semester, we're going to expose how you do this one, much more elegant, much more explicit, and using something called Ajax, which works much better even than this one. I just wanted you to be aware that some people use views, classes, instead of function. This is functions, this is a class. Okay, I hope that was clear. So let's skip the view. How does it work? We have a kind of an idea that when I get to this function, it's gonna give me a form. This is the form. I fill up the data, I click update, it will update that one, and then I can go back to the screen that I started from. Let's go and talk about one that I do want you to know, the most important button that I do want you to know. These two buttons are really simple. And you know what? I'm not even gonna go over them. This is the button that I do really want, and I will ask you in the exam. And I tell you exactly what I'm gonna ask you. When I click on this button, what's going to happen? That's a question I might ask you. And your answer should be, when you click on this one, what's going to happen is, this is the button create. Let's look for it.
Someone is asking for a question under templates.
No, I'm in the right template. This is in this template. That's fine. Ah, you want to ask about the other template? Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to ask a question.
Sure.
How does the for loop in the templates create the table?
This one we did in this table. Okay? Okay? This is what I was going over before. When we are in the view, when we get to the customer list function, it's all the way up in the customers, if you see. When I'm in the customer, I pull all the rows from the table. I transfer them to this template. How do I transfer them? I give it a name in Python. Remember, this is the name in Python. By the way, this will be also as good as doing it this way. I hope I'm not confusing you. I like the way I wrote it in this way, and I will rewrite it again in a second. You could have write it this way. That will work too. No harm done. This way, I take all the rows in the customers table and transfer them to the template in a variable called customers. Pay attention, I usually like the plural if I take several rows in the table. This will work just perfect. I just like to, for convenient, okay? I make it as a variable in Python, and that variable that has all of them, I transfer as customer. The same things. Why do I do it this way? Because many times I manipulate the data. This is a very simple case, so I could have done exactly like that, will be exactly the same. You remove it from here and transfer all the rows directly to the template. No harm done. This is perfectly good and it will work perfect. Now that I have this variable, which include all the rows inside this template, let's look at the template. This template, it's really this one. And if you have a good eye, you can see here, we have a loop. See that? I think this is going to answer your question. For every customer in this list of customers, I usually like to put the customers plural, what I got from the view, transfer to this template, and I'm going over customer no S, it's a singular. For every customer in this list of customers, please make a row for each one of them. So it's going one row at a time, is making it in the table. What is going to put for each one of the customers? First of all, he's going to put the customer number right here in the first column. Then he's going to put the first name and the last name. By the way, just so you can see, I'll put a comma here. So you can see, I won't put a, how about I would put that so you can distinguish that I'm really talking about the second column. If I go back here and refresh, you will see there will be a dash here in the middle. Refresh, you see, I put a dash in the middle. So I put the customer in the first column, that's the first name and last name with a dash in the middle. I put in the second column. How do I know it's a second column? It's in the second TD. This is going to be for the first column. That's going to be for the second column. But it does it for every row in the table of the database. Meaning, for each row in the database is making a row in the HTML in this table. Now, it's not only putting the number and the first name and last name, it's also putting buttons. And I have 3 buttons. So those are the buttons we talked about before, that the first button, second button, and third button. So far, so good? I hope that answered the question. Yeah? With me, Patricia? I hope I didn't lose.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that answer the question?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Very good. See, when I do an update, it's very important. I said before, when I click on the update, it's going to take me to the URLs of the deep billings applications, to this function, to this link, a link by this name. And pay attention, when I'm going there, I'm also transferring to it the customer number so he knows which customers I want to update. For every row, when you is rolling around and making a new row for each one of them, for each one of them is putting a different number here. So when I click on the button, it will know to which customer I want to update. It's like he's doing magic here. It really is, looks like a magic. It's beautifully working. And it's usually the way we will use it. We will put the primary key, which in this case is the customer number. Pay attention, in all of them we transfer in the customer number. So all those functions will know if I want to update, or I want to view, or I want to delete, it knows which customer I want to delete, or to view, or to update. That's why we're transferring the customer number. Hope that's clear. Good. Now I said, I'm not going to go too much on those ones because the style we implemented it here, it's really too simplistic. People like the view, but I like the functions better because everything is, it looks harder, but in the end of the day, when you learn more and more and more, you realize this is really the right approach. So I would like, instead of continue talking about this one, and that's the only one I'm going to ask you in the exam, is how this button works to create new customer. In fact, this is the hardest one. It's opening a screen. It's going to open a screen. I'm going to put the data. It's going to enter the data into the database and then edit, read it from the database and add another line here. So I'm going to do the process and then I'm going to explain how this function works. Very important. Next semester, we'll learn even more sophisticated way. But what is the process? I'm clicking on it. Please pay attention. I'm getting a form. I can put the name. I will write my name, Amos, and I will write Baranes, my name. And I will do, pay attention, I have a submit button. Everybody see? So I'm going to click on submit. And nice, it's open to me another field, another, in fact, this is the view form. Okay, I see everything is cool, and I get back. When I get back, it's pulling the data from the database. You see, this is new. This is new. He added another row because there's another row in the database. So how does it work? Let's go step by step. When I click on this button, I get that screen. How did I get that screen? That's question number one. I might ask that. So you should tell me, Amos, the code for this button, it's right here. How do I know it is? By the way, it is on the top. It's right above the div of the table. This is the table itself. The whole thing of the table is this, and this one just comes above it. Okay? So, and this is the table. This is the table, and this is the button above it. By the way, let's put another empty space so we can really identify it. BR, it's a new line. So let me go back. I'll go back. I will not add another one. I refresh. And let me refresh. Oh, it didn't like me. Why? Wait a second. Let me do it one more time. I thought that I did. Yeah, I did. Let's add another one. I'll add another one. I do refresh. And here we go. You see, there's a space here. This is really, what is the code? What is the HTML for this button? It is this. It's this part. This one is just skipping a little space between the table and the button. BR is a new row. So you're adding another new row, and then you add another one and keeping space between, skipping a space between the table and the button. Is that clear, Mark? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Beautiful. So now we're already getting experts. How do I make a button with a nice formatting? It's just use the A link. You see, an A and a href. That's what tells him what to do. And I get back to that in a second. I close it here like that. So you can, let me build it up step by step and I tell you what I mean. I can start with an A, close it, and see immediately I get it like here. But in order for to know, so I get a button that looks like something, I can add inside whatever I want. I will write Amos, okay? I'm making another button so I can really know how buttons work. And I'm gonna put a little spaces between those two buttons as I did here. This is so important to know how to add a button. So I'm gonna refresh. You see, this is not a button. Interesting. I click, nothing happened, but I do see the word Amos. Is that right? Okay. Now, how do I make it look like a button? Like this nice one. So I'm going to make Amos to look like nice, like this button. How do I do it? Stage number 2. I'm going to take this Amos. Instead of that, I'm going to copy. You see that Spain? So I'm going to write here Spain. Close and put Amos in the middle. Okay. Now let's see what I see now. Is anything's changed? This is a good way to study, by the way. Nothing happened. So I added the Spain, but nothing happened. it becomes to be really interesting when I add that class. See that class? Everybody see that?
Yes.
I'm going to take this one and copy it right here. Let's see what happened. Okay? Let's see what happened now. This is make it look nice. By the way, this is like another person did a library in CSS, and it allows me to make Amos to look like a nice button. Still doesn't do anything, but I will make it look nice. See? Very similar, but did you notice this is a smaller button than this one? Did you notice? And I click on it, nothing happened, but it does look a little nicer. Now I want to make it bigger. If I want to make it bigger, that's what we did here with the style. And I'm going to make it even bigger, and I will explain what I mean. So this is stuff we'll focus on next semester. And I'm going to make it even bigger. I'm going to make it 30. So it will be a big button. Okay? The font size make the buttons bigger. So let's refresh. And Amos should be bigger. See? Much bigger. But still, when I click, nothing happened. Did you notice? Here, when I click, something does happen. Two things happening, really. Pay attention. The mouse stays aligned. And this one, when I put the mouse becomes to be a hand. This one is bigger, but it doesn't do anything. The mouse becomes to a straight line, really useless. But at least it's bigger, okay? Now, by the way, so if I want to change the size, I can change it. By the way, you can change this one instead of primary, you can call it info. And that's really, let's leave for some other course and how you design. This will change the color only, you will see, because it will keep the same style, shape, but this one controlling the color. If I refresh it, you will see this will be a different color. This is only just design stuff. But the functionality, nothing happened. Who affects the functionality? It's the A. It's this A. In order for that, when I click on Amos to do something, I might do it here. So I'm going to do it in two stages. First of all, what I have to add inside, it's the href equal. And if I only do that, do nothing, in fact, I'm not telling him anything what to do, I go here and refresh the screen. You see what happened? When I put the mouse now, what happened to the mouse? Turned to a hand. But if I click, nothing is happening. You see that? It's staying the same page. You can say it's refreshing really the page, by the way. But it's not really doing anything that I really want to do. To stay on the same page is not a big deal. Okay? So, but I want him to do something else. I want to mimic what this one does. Okay? So, you know what I'm going to do? Let's change the functionality. What is the functionality of this button? I'm going to copy it. Okay? I'm copying it and explain what does it do. When I go here, what does it do? When I will click now on Amos, what it is going to do is going to go to the deep billings URLs file. It's going to go to the URLs file of the deep billings application. I'm in the deep billings application. This is its URLs. And he's going to go to a link by the name create customer. Meaning, he's going to go to here, look for the link with the name create customer. Here it is. When he gets to here, he's going to call this function. And that will do something. And in a minute, we'll see what it is. Okay? In fact, now I have really two buttons doing the same things. Is that right? I have a button called Amos, and I have a button called create but links. By the way, so I don't really need both of them. If I take this one and copy it to here, I just have two buttons doing the same things. Is that right? The only difference is I just changed the color, I changed the font. So I can delete either one of them because they are doing the same things. This one will do the same things as this one. No need for both of them. Okay? But Just to prove that they are doing the same, I will refresh. See, this is just a much bigger button, different color, but they are really the same. So I'm gonna click on this one and see what happened. I'm clicking, and indeed, look at the beautiful. I'm getting to the billings, create customer. You see on the top here? How did it get there? This is the magic. When I clicked on this button, it went to the URLs of the deep billings to a link with the name create customers, meaning it's going to this URL, create customer, and is activating this function. When he's activating this function is by putting this one on the top right here. He's putting this right here. And then I go to that function. And that function brings this template. That's the beautiful. I repeat it. I'm getting to this function. And this function, when we look at it, is putting a template called data entry customers HTML. Very complicated, look complicated, but over time you get used to it. I can ignore this one for now, for a second, and we'll get back to that in a minute. But stage number one, when this function is activated, by the way, the method is not post, so it's skipping this part and giving me this template. Let's look at this template. What do I have in this template? Okay, let's look what do we have in this template. Let's go into data entry. Data entry, anybody see that? Here we go. Data entry customers. Open it, and here it is. This one I like better than the one we saw before. Okay? They're quite similar. I have a form, but this time in the form, the action is empty, meaning is, what does it mean, the action? Why do I need this action? Why do I need the method? So let's go one by one. The action tells him if somebody click on a button by the name submit data, this is the name of the button. There should be in this form a button by the name submit data. I must set the type it submit. When somebody click on this kind of a button, it will send the information entered here to the same function that gave me this template. This is a little too much to swallow, but let me say it again. When I put the form, it means I have a form. What does it mean to have a form? This is a form. All this, including the button, it's the form. What do I have inside the form? I have a button called submit data. I have a place to enter data, and I have a label with each one of them next to it. Then when I click on this one, whatever I entered here has to go somewhere. Where does it go? It will go to the same function that gave me this template. I will say it again in a second. Let's look at what the template structure is. We have a label, place to enter data. A label, place to enter data, and then we have a button. And that's what we have here. We have a label. In the label, it will say first name. That's called a label. This is this part. It's the label. Next to it, I have a place to enter data. That's why it's an input. You see, this is the input. Everybody see that? And that allows me to enter data. You know, I have something called placeholder. Enter a first name. This is really what is writing inside it. You see what it says? Enter a first name. That's because I wrote the placeholder. But that's stuff you will learn over time. I'm not going to ask you that one. I'm only going to ask you, can you explain the structure of the form or the template of the form here? So I have a label, I have data to enter, I have a label, I have data to enter, and then a button. And how does it structure? A label with the first name, and then I have an input to enter data. Then I put a little space, another label, and next to it to enter data. This is the entering data. Okay, when I click this button, this is by the way, although it says input, since the type it submit, it will really design to send the data. That's why it makes a special button. By the way, this is make it a nice button. That's all. Again, a class, not for this course, but at least we know that this is a button. Why do I know it's a type to submit? Because it says type submit. This one, it's an input for data entry because it says text. The type it's text, type it text, it means it's for data entry. So far, so good. So this is the 3 rows we have in this form. And what happened when I click on this one? It says to me, you know, since this action is empty, meaning send this information to the same function. What is the function, by the way? Let's go back here. Sorry. Let's go back to here, to the view. This is the function. Remember, this is the function that sent me the template. So the template is sending back the data to the same function. Why is sending it to the same function? Because in the form here, we put actions to be empty. Sorry, not this one. Let me close it. This one. It's empty. If it's empty, it means go to the same function. And this time, please pay attention. I want you to notice this is a method post. I want to post this information. So pay attention to it. And that's what becomes to be so essential. When I get back and get the data, I change the method to post. That's why I check. If it is a post, you know what I want to do? I want to take the data that the user have put in. The user put the data in, he sent me the data. This is a very important line, and I'm going to ask you about this one. This line does a lot of work. One thing is, please pay attention to this part. This is include what I typed in, the first name. Whatever I typed inside here as the first name, you see the name says first name in the input. Whatever I typed in this place, I will get it in the view right in here. And whatever I type as the last name, it is right in here. So what I'm doing here, taking the first name, taking the last name, and creating a new row in the database. That's the hardest part. I have the table, I have the objects. Remember in the objects, we were able to get all the records. Remember in the previous one? This time, we want to create a new row. And how do I create a new row? I want the first name to be whatever the person have filed in the template, and I'm going to put the last name, whatever the person typed the last name. That's creating a new row. Beautiful. And now it becomes to be really simple. Hey, look at that. That's beautiful. What does it do now? This is really interesting. After it's creating a new customer, and this is very special in Python and Django, he said, you know what I wanted to do now? This new user that you have created, this new customer you created, I want you to go and show it to me. How do I know that that's what I want him to do? The redirect means go to another place. Don't go back to this one. I want you to return by going to this other place. What is this other place? That's really beautiful done. Since I know the customer has a function called get absolute URL. Hey, what is that function is? If you go and look at the model, we have that function right there. It's a magic. It's beautifully designed. Whoever designed it in Django did a beautiful job, but it makes your life hard in the beginning because it really looks like complicated. So before I explain this function, let's understand what happened so far. First time, When I gave the template to the person. The person opened the template, meaning he's really looked, he got this template. Let's put another name. Let's call Gabriel. This is my son. And let's put Baranes. We put the data. Now, what happened when I click on the submit? After I click on the submit, what we know from the template, if I click on the submit, is going to send it back to the same function. But this time, you tell him, when you get to this function, the method is post. And you know what? I'm sending you also this information. Use it. So beautiful. When I click the submit, I click the submit, oh, something happened and I got to here. What happened? So here, let's explain. I get back to the same function, this function. This time it is a post. Oh, so I'm checking if the method is post. Yeah, it is. And the guy said, I send you the information that I typed in. So in this place, this should say Gabriel. And this one should say Baranes. And now I take the first name and the last name. I create a new row in the database. Beautiful. I created a new row. You know, that row, it has a variable called customer. I can relate to that. I can use it. I can refer to it. And that customer, it's defined in the model. And I can use one of his functions. It's really complex to first course in Python, Django. It's a slightly hard, I'm aware to it. That's why I said I'm going to ask you only on this function. And I will help you in the exam. As you know, you can ask the student and certificate too. I do help you. I'm not trying to fail you. On the contrary, I want you to really understand. And you get to certificate too, we go over it again and again. It will be clearer as we go along. But this trick is so beautiful. I use it so much in Academy City website. I even create more functions like this. But this one, the beauty here, the customer already have a customer ID. So it does the magic automatically. That's why we do it this way. When I go to the model and I know who is the customer, I do really know his number and I use it. And what I do in this function, very magic. You can really look at that as a magic. I tell him, you know what, please go to the URLs of the DB links. This time, I want you to go to this function with this name, the link with this name. And as you go there, please refer to the primary key of this customer, meaning the primary key really is, in this case, is the customer number. Because the customer number already got a new number, and I want you, when you're opening this link, take this number with you. So let's see, how do I translate it? I go now again to the URLs. I'm going to go this time to the detailed customer and take this number with me. I don't even know what the number is. It's the last number he's using or created, but I'm going to go there. Okay, let's see what happened there. Let's go to detail customer. Where is detail customer? Anybody sees detail? Detail, oh, here it is. It tells me go to this link. Okay, this link, by the way, takes me to this view. I'm going to there. It does really a magic because this is a class view, okay? It carried the primary key right into here and he's using it, okay? Control B, and what it does in here, it goes to the table of the customers, find that specific new customer and show it to me using this template. That's the last things left. What is this template? Detail. What is detail? Detail, detail, detail. Here it is. No, this is item. I need customer detail. And here it is. I go to here. That becomes to be really simple. This one is just a table. We know how to do tables now. This table doesn't have any header. It only has 2 rows. And the first row, I put the first name with the name of the first name of the customer. and his last name. And that's what we got right here. Everybody see, this is what we got here. On this one, I'm not going to ask you. It's less important to me. And then finally, I have back to customer list. That's something we have seen before. This is really what we have here. It takes me back to the list of the customers. It really is hard. I'm aware to that, so I'm not going to make your life hard in the exam. I just want to make sure you review that as many times as possible. Please use your mentor. And this is the only things I'm going to ask you regarding the deep billings table, okay? Because this is really very detailed and I will help you. But please help yourself understand the logic, okay? And then that takes me back to, by the way, it goes to there and it will create the table again and put the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is really hard, but that's okay. That's why we're studying. And then I get back a new list. I open the list again, and here Gabriel is right down there because he added it. Say I don't really need those two buttons. So I'm going to remove one of them. Which one you want me to remove? The big one or the small one? I think the big one is too big. So let's go to here. I will delete this one and leave this one as it was before. I can refresh now. Okay, this one I'm not going to ask you on the delete. I'm not going to ask you on the view, by the way. And what is really important for me is this button. Follow the whole structure for this button. This is the heart of this course. Everything is there on this button. Everything's in this course. Why? It shows if you really know how the link works. It shows that you know that there's a table in the model. And the table I can create there a new row. And after I create a new row, I can really direct to the update or the view of the table. And then after that, I can really go back to here and read all the rows and show them. Everything's in there in this button. So this is the only things I'm going to ask about. Of course, the list, it really is automatically created. By the way, when I create here, let me just make some simple one. And I will just make this one. When I click here, it shows it to me and I'm going back to the list. So the list will be creating a new one and here it is. By the way, the delete is very simple. Just ask me, are you sure? I confirm and it will delete the row. I will leave it for the next semester mostly. I think this is understanding this. It's very important, okay? I hope everybody understood it. The second part, we went over it so many times to understand how the toolbar works. That's also very important, very simple, and I'm not going to go over that today. We went over that many times in the past. So please, or ask your mentor or watch the videos from previous classes. Okay, thank God we finally finished the semester. Questions, guys, I'm all yours. I think you're really, honestly, for the student on certificate 1, you really do have very good student in certificate 2 you can use, and they are really also eager to help you. Please use them, okay? Take advantage, you know, they're really helpful. I know they are in a very high level. Daniel, Brenda, Jeremiah, you know, Mildred, Jimmy, Jonathan, Michael, all of them are in a very high level. Please use them. So come ready for the exam. There's no reason not to pass the exam and not to get to a good level and join the team, really. This is the part when you start joining the team, okay? Questions, guys? Let me see you guys. All of you turning on the videos. Why? I'm the only one. I think I'm the oldest, not the best looking one. All of you look much better than me, don't you? Yeah, Daniel looks much better than me, don't you think? Brenda, Patricia definitely look better than me. Mark look better than me. How are you feeling, Mark? You think you'll handle it?
Yeah, I think I can handle it.
Please go over general questions. Certificate 2 can help you a little bit to prepare you for also the written exam. They do know what is in the written exam, so they will direct you a little bit. So in half an hour, I expect you guys to really know the answers. Patricia, the same things, okay? You can get help from them. Jeremiah will be happy to help you, each one of them, Brenda. And I know they are really in a very high level, like 2 levels above certificate 1, all of them. You know, I work with them now on real projects, and that's what I hope you will be in the same level after you finish certificate 2 and you join the group. You know, certificate 3, it's all about special topics. So certificate 2 is really mostly, instead of using the form we saw today, we'll use a JavaScript. We'll create the whole things of the buttons, updating the table with JavaScript and Ajax, which makes the tables work much faster. The interactions of the page, the homepage, much faster. And then in certificate 3, I'm mostly going to cover special topics, advanced topics, really advanced. Then it turns you from a good programmer in Python and designing web application to a really professional. That's certificate 3. You are now just the introductions. It's, in my opinion, the first one, it's the easiest and the hardest. It is the hardest because it's the first time you are being exposed to. When you finish certificate 2, you realize how certificate 1 was so easy. Okay? So it is the hardest in this point because you never done it before. When you finish certificate 2, we review a lot of those things again and again, and then certificate 1 becomes to be really easy. When you finish certificate 3, certificate 2 becomes to be easy because we're going to do everything in certificate 2 and more sophisticated. Brenda, in fact, now is working with me on something that I want eventually she will be the expert on. Graphics and integrations of interface. When you click on the interface, you get different types of graphics. And that's what she will do a lot in certificate 3 in much more sophisticated way. And she's turning from being good to really professional. We did something today, and in fact, I really welcome you to stay. I would like her to present it so you can see what I'm expecting that you will get to the level when you be between 2 to 3. She's really, in my opinion, I don't really even have to make a test with Brenda. I know she will pass certificate 2. The same I can say about Daniel and Jeremiah. They already, they're working with me now, and I'm expecting everybody that finished certificate 2 to start working with me on real stuff. And then I know that you're already good. I don't really need to make a test to Daniel. I know exactly what he knows. By the way, when I work with him and he fixed my errors, is that right? Brenda many times fixed my errors. Am I right, Brenda? Did I make a lot of errors?
Yes, you do.
I do a lot of errors, but it's good to make errors. That's why I'm going to help you in the exam. Don't be worried. I want to see that you're controlling the basic understanding of the framework. If you got it, lucky you. You are on a path to get a professional in your life. And you are in the beginning. When you finish course 7 with me, definitely everybody will want to hire you. Definitely me. Okay, and we're building up Academy City to be a consulting company. And I want everybody that finish certificate 3 and starting machine learning, definitely to be part of Academy City and hoping to build up customer base as well. In Uganda, outside Uganda, it will come. You will see, it will come. Because I can tell Daniel, Jeremiah, Mildred, Brenda, they already can do things that are useful. They are not expert yet. It will take them a long time. But they will get to a point that will do it fast, and that's what we need to. And you are now in the point to merge out. How are you doing, Patricia? I know you're studying also, and I hope you catch up with everything for Sunday.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you catching up?
Yes.
Beautiful. So I hope to see you guys doing well. I saw that Fezio, sometimes his connections I noticed, but please follow up. Will you do that, Daniel? follow up with Fezio and see if he needs any help, because I know he even wrote to me during the day that he was there and it got disconnected. Might be has to do with the internet, but make sure he watched the video, and if he needs help, please do help him. Okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay. We'll take a 5-10 minutes break, and then Brenda is going to present her project. And
Yes.
if you are in a certificate one and want to stay, you're more than welcome. I even encourage you. Okay? And we'll get back in 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll take a break, I will close it and open up. Hi guys, we're back. Hi Brenda. Let me give you permission to share your screen. All yours. You are the teacher today. You didn't know that this is really your exam. Let me tell you a story first, by the way. If you go and look at the, if you go back to Maxwell, everybody heard about Maxwell, is that right? He discovered all the electromagnetics. You know what's the name of his teacher? Anybody? Who is Michael? Michael should know that. The electrical engineer.
Jeremiah also be known.
Yeah, Jeremiah. Who was the teacher of Maxwell? That's usually you don't learn.
Jeremiah.
Who?
Yeah.
And what was his expertise? Was he electrical engineer?
All them.
His teacher was expert in water dynamics. And Maxwell at the time was his student in the lab. And he discovered the electromagnetics. And amazingly enough, if you look at the equations of electromagnetics and you look at the equations of dynamics of water, they're about the same. Amazing. And at the time, if you wanted to graduate from school, you have to get your professor signature. There was no exam format like you have now. You go to the class and you take a written exam, blah, blah, blah. You work with your professor, and if he realizes that you are in a good level, he give you a diploma. Meaning, your professor really has to know you very well and to know really what you can do. Unfortunately, since then, well, fortunately and unfortunately, the fortunately is because it's more accessible. Learning today is more accessible. Unfortunately, the professors don't really know their student well enough, so they do those written exams, and you can't really get to the bottom that you know everyone that's graduating. And then you can say, wow, this is a really good student. I can tell you in Chicago, if you go to school, every year there's only 10 to 15 students graduating. So you most likely can read about each one of my professors, and each professor there knows his students very well. I adopting the same method. I don't think quantity is the importance in quality. And I hope everyone that finishes Academy City or get to Academy City or be in Academy City will be in a very high level. And I will vouch because I will know exactly what that person knows. Okay, so now Brenda, it's your turn. Go ahead, let's see. Now after I talk so much, I hope you not let me down. So this is gonna be a beautiful project and you're gonna go with it to certificate 3 after this presentation. So go ahead, it's all yours. I'm recording it, yes? Go from A to Z, present the project, show the functionality, and then we move on.
From the beginning, right?
Yes, present the project itself. Run it, show the web.
Okay. The project is the trade, but then we made an application called geoeconomics. And you already know that. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I hear very well, but there's a noise in the background.
Okay, let me come here. Is the name still there?
Go ahead. Why don't you click on the link and show us what does it do?
Okay, let me just start from the beginning. So we created an application called G-Economics.
No, from the business point of view, just show the project itself. What does it do? And then explain how does it do it.
Okay. So this is the project. When we look at this, we have the data on export and the what? And the import table. And on this,
Can somebody close the microphone there? One of them.
is the echo still there?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Beautiful.
this is the project. We have the export and the what? And the import table.
Yeah, it would be nice to see it if you can close it a little bit here. So I will close that one where you can see it better. Beautiful. Go ahead.
So we have the export and the import table. When we look at this, we have the product showing us this CITC2 column, the product, and the years. And on top here, when you get to look at this web page, we have different kind of charts, lines, bars, and pies. This is actually pie chart, but then we decided to name it as pies. And when you look at this web page, let me say for the data analyst, when you click on this product, it will already give you the what? It will give you the line graph. And the good thing about this web page is that when you also click on this the bars, it will automatically give you. You don't need to go back to the product again and click for you to get the what? The bar chart. And when you click on the pie chart, it also gives you the pie chart. You don't need to go back maybe again to live animals, then come and click on pie chart, then again go to live animals, click on bars, then again go to line. It automatically gives you because of the function we use. The same goes for the imports actually. The same thing. When you're an import, it brings the table for you, downloads it and brings it for you. And when you click online, it automatically gives you, we get to notice that these three buttons change colors because of the functions you use. You can actually use any kind of function that you would like. The pie is also the same. So with this, let me say the data analysts are able to analyze that data very, very fast.
Let me make a comment, Brenda. By the way, there is a tool called Power BI, a tool by Microsoft. You can look it up. Here, I will open it up for you. Okay? It's called Power BI. And people spend money on it, study a whole course on it. Here we go, data visualization, Microsoft Power BI. And you can read about it. I do recommend you read.
Okay.
Okay, and what does it do? It can allow you to make charts, graphs. You see that, Brenda?
Yes.
Eventually, all those graphs you're going to learn how to make. Okay, for now, you're doing only the bar. By the way, it does bar like this one and this kind of bar. You already can do that one. You will do all this kind. You will learn them. In that library, you can do all of them, okay? And, but why I'm showing this one to you? Because this is a whole professional. People study Power BI as a professional standalone. And the only things, eventually, they're making like dashboards. And then you have to pull the data from different places, pull the data, manipulate them. All that we know how to do in Python.
Yes.
Much more powerful than Power BI. Moreover, Power BI is aware that is not enough powerful as Python. What they did in Power BI, you can look it up and read about it. They allow you to use internally Python somehow, but that's really not the right way to do it. Why to get Python into a different environment and be limited by the way you can use it and the tools of manipulating data? You don't have the Django for dealing with tables, linking tables. Why? So this is what you're doing here. Honestly, 10 times better what somebody can do with Power BI. Moreover, it's fully integrated with the Django, with database, a read database. Power BI doesn't have its own database. Okay, this one has its own database. This is the right way to do BI. So you are a step before getting to the BI. Okay, so I just really wanted to tell you that when you finish now, you're really between 2 to certificate 3. You should be in a stage in which you become to be expert in doing dashboards eventually by the end of certificate 3, to be able to do real application and writing a code. You see, we have done a lot of beautiful stuff on this program, but the final product going to be better than the stuff you can do with Power BI. Much more powerful. Moreover, it's fully integrated with your database.
Yeah.
Moreover, it's all Python. Moreover, it's all database. Moreover, it's all Ajax. It works very fast, much faster than Power BI. One more thing, which is extremely important, you haven't got to deployment, but see, after you do it on your PyCharm, you know, when I do it on my computer, I upload it to Academy City in 2 minutes because it's fully integrated. And Power BI, it's really a painful process to upload it to the internet. So one day I would like you guys really read about Power BI. Now you are in a point you can read about it. It looks so interesting. Why you can do that, you can do that. And believe me, I taught a course about it once. I threw it away after thinking about it too much. It got a lot of credit, blah, blah, blah. It's really good for people that don't have the courage to study Python. And you did pass that stage. Moreover, it's people that don't know JavaScript and you don't have passed that stage. Okay? So this is give you advantage much above the people that studying a whole course, spending hours, check my word, on BI, and they don't really get the quality and the performance you got in this interesting application. Okay, I thought that it's very important I let you know that. Okay, so move on. Now what I would like you to do is go and explain. You have 3 elements here to explain. The first one, when you click on the export and import, you're getting the data. Explain the technical aspect of it. And I think that will be enough for today.
Okay.
Next time, I want you to explain the mechanism of the toolbar with the charts that you get and how they work when you click here, it's changing accordingly. You see that?
Yes.
And when I change it to here, it's changing the types. Okay? That you will talk next time. I think it will be too much for one time. So let's focus only on when I refresh here, I'm getting an empty page. Explain how this page built as empty page. And then what happened when you click on export, that you're getting a list. And when you're clicking on import, you're getting a list. Next time, we'll explain how the mechanism of clicking here, how do you get the chart here? And if you click here, how does it change that one? And please pay attention, guys. The color is even changing. When I click on Pi, it's clicking the last one, clicking them, and making this one to be blue. By the way, you can sit with Jeremiah, and instead of rights, you can even put an image on the button. It's even nicer, you know? That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's leave that for next time.
Okay.
Okay, so focus only, I refreshing the page, and clicking here, I'm getting the data. Clicking here, I'm getting the data. Only on this one, the technical aspect, the structure. Go ahead.
Okay. So that all is in the index.
I will, when I present something like that, I will recommend you go to the view. Go to the view that opened the template. Is that right?
Right. Okay, here we
Don't
have,
forget, Brenda, this is your baby. You're gonna
Yes.
increase it over time. It's gonna be, you can turn it to a complete course. I mean it. Because this is gonna replace what people do in Power BI. Just much, much more powerful.
okay. So we have in the views, we have functions that we made. We have the index function, get source data function, plus the load data function. So this index function mainly are the title that we see here, the UGOS and exports that we see here. Then we have this PDU is it's a variable that we gave as the algo. Actually, this is a variable. We say let it be algo economics. Let me go. This is a data frame, and we have the data frame is basically a table. Where we have product underscore source underscore, and the source we have the exports and the what and the inputs. But then when you
Hold
look
a
at
second. Hold a second. I hope you will hear this recording. I will send you a link. And I would like you to describe it in writing. This is by itself required a whole description. It's a
Yeah.
big part that you forgot we did it. Okay? What do you really have here? You have a special object called algo UE. And this algo UE does a lot of work for you. When you do Control B, you go to there. And that algo UB is inheriting from another object called algo. And you need to describe that one as well.
Okay.
And I said, in this stage, all what you want to describe is that algo has a lot of functions. You're not going to go into all of that. And you might use some functionality of this object. All right? And how do I use that? Being smart. There's a lot of functions here. We will learn them when we get to machine learning. But for now, I'm only using some of the functionality. That's why you created in a new file, you created the algo UE.
Yes.
You're inheriting from algo. You're not doing anything in the constructor of algo UE. Only you're just telling him, you know, I'm going to talk about really, when I say chapter, it really should be like the topic is U economics. Okay, it's a variable I need to use there. In a minute, we'll explain what does it do. So you do need to explain that. Go over that again and write it down. Okay, write it down as a summary. Okay, then here is the stuff that does the work. We have a function called upload data to database.
Yes.
We use that. Okay, and then we have a function called get data. Okay, those two functions are in addition to whatever we inherit from algo. Do we use them? Let's see. Let's go back to the view. When you go to the view, you're creating the algo. Does it create anything? No. It only does the following. It's only called the constructor. And the constructor of algo UE called the constructor of the algo. This is the way we're calling the constructor of the algo. When we're calling the constructor of the algo, we're transferring chapter ID to BU economics. And here we do have some work that it does. And it's very smart. What it does certain things which we don't really worry about now, but the important thing is define a variable called projects root directory, which is really data and chapter ID. If you really want to understand what this one does, it's then if it doesn't have that file, it makes sure that it creates that directory for me. That's a very important. So where is it? It really is right in here, and that you should know by heart, okay? It's putting it in the static. Under the static, you should have the U economics. You see that?
Yes.
And under the U economics, this is what created that directory, by the way. That's what created that directory. I have a data. You see the data?
Yeah.
It's creating right under the data. No, I think I kind of confused you here. No, let me.
Under the setting. It's under the setting.
No, I don't think so. It doesn't go the way it's looked to me. Setting web directory.
Settings.
No, I don't think it's this one. It should be in, where is it, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. In the setting, we can see where is this web goes to. So let's go to the base. Very good. We go to the base, and on the top, it should be, it's defined on the top. Here we go. The web base. Oh, I don't have a web base. Do I have it here? Let's go back on a second. Data processing, no. Here we go. Setting web directory. So what is web directory? Web directory. It goes to the base, it tells me it's a web. So this is web. I'm here. Okay, after I get here, this is really what it is. Then I go to, let's see, what does it do here? It tells me add data. Do I see data after the web? Anybody sees data? No, I don't see it.
It's up there. It's on top.
Oh yeah, you're right. This one, you're right. So why does it tell me it's a web? It shouldn't be a web in the base. It should say trade. Am I right? Trade. That's the best directory. Okay, we can really check it very easily. How about we do that? We can write print. All right? That's the easy way to check. Base directory. Let's print it. Okay, we do the same thing. We print all of them. And then we can see them. So that we don't get confused. And then we know exactly where it is. And just let's put site root. Let's see where is the site root. Let's do the web directory. Let's see where that one goes to. Beautiful. Let's go start the terminal again. You have to start the terminal because you changed the setting. Then we go back to the application and we refresh. When we refresh, automatically those ones should be printed down here. You can see it here, okay? Here we go. Okay, let's look at those ones. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the traits. It's the, yeah, it is really the traits. It's a, no, but hold a second. You see, this is the traits, which is internal to the web. So this is this trait. Fair enough?
Fair.
So the best directory, it is really this one. Beautiful. And then the web, is really the one above it. It's this one. And then when I get the setting, let's see the setting. Yeah, beautiful. I have threads, web, threads. Under the threads, I look for setting. So this is the setting directory. This is beautiful. Everything is correct. Good?
Yeah.
So now we exactly know on which thread we're talking about. We know exactly on which web we're talking about. This thread is inside the web.
Yes.
Fair enough?
Fair.
So we don't need that one. So let's go back now to your algo utilities. We're using the web directory. I think so, isn't it? Where is the, we have the web directory. This is means we are here.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
Then we go to data. Do we have data under that?
Data is up.
Yeah, how come it's up? It shouldn't be up.
We have a function that is joining them.
No, I know, but according to this one, yeah, I see it's there, but this shouldn't be web. Am I right? Ah, I know why.
Joining the first
You're
join.
going one up. I didn't pay attention. This one, yes. This one, it really is going to the web. But this one takes you one up. You see that?
Yes.
Because in the setting, the highest one we have is this web. And we need to go one above, you know? If you only want, you can do another things, by the way, and that would be cleaner, is to make a data directory and put it right in the setting, okay? But this is good. Don't touch that one because this is very basic one, and this one, okay. Going one up takes you to the top traits, and you can confirm that. Let's put here print. Is that right?
Yes.
It's very important you control that 100%. That, and how did I call it? Project. Okay? Project directory. You know, we'll print it. You will see, you get to this trait. Because this one takes you one up above the web. Okay? And then after it takes you one up, it takes you to the data. By the way, in fact, I should really print this one so you can appreciate. Hold a second. This one, oh, this one, yeah. This one, you see here,
Yes.
will take you to the traits. Let me leave this one too. I will do another print. This one will take you one up. And after it takes you one up, is joining, this one joining this one, which is the thread with the data. And under the data, you should have your economics because
Yeah.
that's the way you call the chapter.
The ID.
So now you are here. You really are here. This is the project's root directory.
Yeah.
Okay? In fact, if we rerun that, and we go here, and now we refresh. Okay, I think we refreshed, is that right? Yeah. Let's look at it again. You can see those directories. You see, infs, it goes to the top directory. That's what I said before. It takes you up from the web, up by one, and then it's joining it from the thread, is joining it with the data and your economics. So that's the way you can really understand. Now you can say, well, my projects directory for the data really, it is right here. I'm here. Now under that, I can have data sets, by the way. Under the data sets, I will use my data. That's why we're joining now, whatever it is here, to the data set. So we're going one down. And under this one, I do really have 2 Excel files. It's very important. I think you forgot you did it. Okay? So we're going to call, we're calling that directory. That's where my data is. So that will be really nice. Why? From now on, we can, by the way, if it doesn't exist, it will create it for you. Okay? This is what the next row is. And now I don't really, the rest I don't really need from the algo. The algo, when I run this line, is creating the directory for me. And then we put the Excel there, if you remember.
Yes.
And then after we have the Excel inside, okay, we go to the view. This line did nothing yet. This one only created this directory. After that, we put the Excel there. Then only after that, we can call the function get data of this object. Remember?
Yes.
Now, what this function does, it does all the work. So please do go over that and write it down, because you will forget, and that's really going to be your basis, your really baby, I call it. What get data does, let's go and look at it. And here we go, we have a function called get data. And let's see what get data does. It's getting data from a database, doing something, and it get me that data. Hey, but we forgot one thing. We didn't update this one. Where is this one, by the way?
That function uploads data to data.
Yeah, where is it? Get source data, and we have load data. You see that?
Yes.
We forgot about that, remember? We totally forgot, my God. So, by the way, this is really should be the first function we should get. Because I have to upload the data, isn't it?
Yes.
So, by the way, I'm creating these objects here too. Okay? So, creating here or creating here is the same things. So this one has all the link to the data right to here. I put the Excel here, as you remember, correct?
Yeah.
And this is really should be the first one to be called, but only once. Because after I'm uploading the data to the database, I don't really need to call it again.
Yes.
Is that right? So how do we call this function, by the way, to load the data to the database? We deal with it in a second. So don't forget, we go to the view again. And we do have a function called load data. But who is calling that? Who is going to call it? We have to go back to the application, isn't it? And how do we know who called it? We go to the URL. Where's the URL?
Exactly.
Where-
They are all objects of the
Here we go.
application.
I need to go to the URL. And let's look at the URLs. Which one is calling it? Here we go. We do have get source data, and then we have load data as well.
Yeah.
So if I want to load the data, I can make a button somewhere, but I can also just copy this one to the screen, meaning go to here. Instead of here, I can put load data. It will load the data to the database. Intentionally, we didn't put a button. We didn't want anybody to mess up with it, if you remember. Because we're doing it only once. We upload the Excel file into the database, remember?
Yes.
That's a very important functionality you should document. Okay, the only reason we put it this way, we didn't want to put any button here, so nobody will mess up with it, especially not the user.
Okay.
Fair enough, you as an administrator of the project, you will use this function. Okay, but I'm not going to run it again. I want to see what it does. What this function does, let's look at it. It says it's begun to be already a real project without noticing. Okay, so what did we do in this function? Let's go back to that URL, to this function, and here we go. We're calling this object, and that object has upload data to database function. Beautiful. Control B. Let's see what it does. And what it does is using, by the way, since I'm inheriting from Algo, I can read tables of Excel. Now, the beautiful part is, since we defined already the data location, you already know where to find those Excel.
Yeah.
That's why we made all that hard work in the Algo. Is that right? That's why we have in the Algo, we made this directory two data paths. Two data paths, it's really the places we're going to put our Excels. And now when I call a function called load Excel, let's go and look at that function. It's in Algo. It's already somebody have done it for us. And see, it's beautiful because you see, he's taking the data path, which is really what the Excel are, adding the file and adding .xlsx, because I just put the word export or import. I didn't even put the extension. He added it and he's using Panda to read the Excel. He reading the Excel is getting me a table. In another word, in this part, I'm reading two tables. I have two tables, write what I got from the Excel. I took the data in the Excel, and those data now are tables that Python knows how to handle. I think you forgot all of that. It was a while ago. Okay, now that we have the data, what do we do now? Now we do a loop. First of all, by the way, we have a source table, another table in the data set, in the database. So let's look at the application and look at the models, and we have those tables. You should describe them. Start writing. You have a table called source. In the source, we have only one column, correct?
Correct.
And this one, we added only two records, is what we did here. One is when we call source object get or create, is checking if we already have a row, it will just pull it. If not, it will create a new row. Is that right?
That's right.
So that one source export, that's really pulling the row of export from the table called source. Now what does it do? By the way, this is just printing. Remember, as we did it, just to really print. By the way, you can run it, nothing will happen, but it just will be. If created, that means this table is empty. Is that right?
Yes.
That means we didn't upload the data. So we do want to upload it. But if it's not, if it is already there, it's not going to run this part. So it's not going to upload the data to the database because it's already up there. Got it? The export is already there. So if it is not, I mean, create, it's telling me if it created a new row or it is just pull it out because it's already there. If it's already there, create will be false, and then it will not do this part. If it is true, it will do this part. And what does it do here? This one you should know by heart. Is rolling over this table row by row. That's what the iterate rows.
Yeah.
For every row, by the way, the index, I don't think we're not using the index, but for every row here, going the first row, the second row in the Excel, and
Yes.
putting the data from that. Okay? And this one we did very sophisticated, if you recall, and I think you should document it. Look at the Excel. Let's open it, by the way. I hope you will open. You have Excel?
Yes, I do have.
Yeah, here we go. He's opening it. So look at the table. I just remind you, please do document. It's a very important function. Here's the Excel. Let's look at the table, how it looks like. What happened?
I have to go get.
Here it is. Remember how it looks like?
Yes.
So we have all those columns. We have a column for SITC2, we have description, and we have the years,
Yes.
and we have the data. And how did we take this data and put it in the database? We go row by row. We go to the first row without the title, the first row. What do we do with the first row? So see, when we iterate, we got the first row. We get two variables, the description and the SITC for the first row.
Yes.
So in fact, we already do, in this case for the first row, it will be a 0, and it will be this one. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Now what next he does? So he takes those two, he printed it for us so we can see what he does. And then he goes to another table called product. And again, he does get or create. He makes sure do I already have the descriptions of that product. It's a second table you have in the model.
Yeah.
You see that? This is the
Yes.
second table. We have only two columns here, the number and the description.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's very important. We have only description and the numbers for it.
Yes.
Beautiful. Now we go to, again, and look at what we're doing here. Okay, so it's check. If it's already there, it give it to me. If it's not there, it is creating a new row. Beautiful. Now I have the product, which really is a row in that table, and I'm going to another loop. This loop, by the way, is just going over the columns that I have in the Excels
The years. The years.
for the years, exactly right. So what does it do? It's going for the first, it goes to 2015 first. So it takes 2015, turning it to a string, adding the Y before it. So Y, it really is exactly the name of the column. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
And now I want, in this row, I want that value. So I need, for the row, I put this variable. Okay, so when I put here, when I have row Y, I'm getting, for the first one, I'm getting the value for 2015. By the way, you can see, in fact, it's really beautiful because in the beginning, you got the row, you see the row, and then first you got the description, you got the SIT. Now you're getting the continue. You know, this was the first two that you got. Now you're getting for that specific year. So the V, it's the same row. We're continuing the same row, but this time I'm taking this column. And then I'm rolling over, I'm doing a loop for all the years. Got it?
Yes.
So for each number, now it's the hard part became. For each one, I have the V, this is the value, and now finally I'm getting to the third table. And the third table, let's go to the model. Let's look at the third table. And the third table, what do we have? We write what is the source, is it export or import, correct? Then we write the product, we write the year, and put the value. That's pretty cool. That's a hard one. So let's go over that again. So what it does is for every year, it makes a new row. So for the export, for every row, you have 5 rows in this table. That makes sense?
Yes.
Because it's looping 5 times. See that? It's looping 5 times. And 5 times is putting record here. Let me make that one to be bigger so you can see. So you're putting source, you're putting product, you're putting the year, and you're putting the value for data. And for every year, you're looping 5 years, 2015 up to 2019. For every year is putting a record there in this table. Why do we build it up this way? Because this table is going to be big and we put only numbers. You see, everything is a number. That's an index, that's an index, that's an index. And because this is a number, only 2019, it's a number. And this is a value. They are all numbers. Got it?
Yes.
And that's the special. But they are all linked. This one will be linked to the source. This one will be linked to the product. That's linked. I know the years. Sometimes we do a table for periods, but we didn't do it here. Okay? That's the way we upload the data from the Excel for the export. That's for the export. Now we do the same things. We upload the data for the import, the same things. Got it?
Yes.
Now we have all the data in the database. That's stage number 1. That's for uploading data. By the way, nothing will happen. If I run it, now that I see the code again, I'm always careful. It will not do anything because it always do get or create. So let me do Control V. I don't know if I still have it. Yeah. If I run it, it will run. It's running and it's done. Because all the data is already there. Because it's always do get or create. You got it? So I don't need to be afraid if somebody run it. Okay? So this is really the conclusion. And by the way, after it does that, you know, the one that really running it is the view. And this view, after it's finishing to upload the data, it takes you to this template. And this template is nothing. It's just saying, I'm done. If you look at that, update data. Where is the update data? You see that?
Down.
There it is. You see, it's nothing. There is nothing here. You got it?
Yes.
It's only put a title and it says data was uploaded. Nothing. And this one just allowed me to go back to the economics. Just added another button there on the right side. You see that? It put this one. Pretty cool. Nothing really. So I can go back. Shouldn't matter here. By the way, we did make a load data. When we click on it, it does load the data. I even forgot it. It will not do anything. And you go back to the economics. So this is really, you need to do it only once. So you don't even have to put a button here, but for the exercise, we put it here probably. Got it? It's done. See how quick it does because the data is already there. Okay, now let's look at the next part. That part, it's very important to write it down. You really don't need to write it down. So I can close this one. I can, okay, so we're done with this function. Let's see what the get data is. And that will be enough for today. The get data, it's who is calling the get data, by the way? Okay, so we have the index. Now we're going back to this one we know. So in the data processing, we already learned about the load data. Okay, so we're done with it. Now we have going back to the get data. This one, who is calling this one? So let's find. Usually we like to put the same names to the functions. Let's go to the view. Do we have a function called get? Here we go, get source data, load data, this one we done. Probably this one, isn't it? Somebody calling this one. And let's see. Let's say we have that product, no, product years, line there. Not really this one. So who is calling that function? Oh, here we go. The index. Is that right?
Yeah.
You with me? Go ahead, continue. You take the lead now. So what this function does?
So this function would be rendered in the dictionary. We have a dictionary here. Since we gave it as this data frame product source, this value will be transferred to this, this variable will be transferred to this value, the df, which will be rendered to our template.
Beautiful. You will transfer it to this template. Very good. But let's look what does it bring back to us. So we can go click here and do Control B. And let's see what does it do. Very simple. It only goes to the year data table. Remember, this is the big table that we have all the value there.
Yes.
Pull all the record, all of them. And then, by the way, this is the only things this one does. It put, you know, it's telling me get the values of those columns. And the Q will give me, by the way, I'm pulling data, it's called a query set. This is a query set. This is the way I pull data from a database. So it's a query set, it's not a data frame. It's not a table like what we used before. When we read the Excel, it was a data frame table. When I pull the data from the database, it is not a table like the regular what we used before. And that's what this one does. It takes the query set, convert them to a value. And later on, there's another function in Panda, takes those records and turn them to a data frame of Panda. And that's really useful for manipulating data, much nicer than using query set. That's the only reason we use that one. And I said that's what we learn in machine learning. We will talk about it much more. For now, all what I want to know, I have a table with all the values, you know, source, product, year, and value. I get the table. In addition, by the way, this is a query set. Those two are query set because I'm taking all the data from the table and I'm getting all the data from this table. So this is a query set. This is a query set, but this one is a data frame, Panda data frame. I'm returning those three elements. Beautiful. Get data is really pulling data from the database, which we usually do, okay? And as you said, I'm getting this data from here. I'm getting those variables, and those variables, I'm transferring them to the template. Beautiful. Good. Now let's go back and understand the indexed template. What is the index template? Let's go back to it and go ahead. Explain how do we use those three. We have one data frame, we have export, we have an import. How do we use it here? Go ahead. By the way, here we go. You have already here something with the source. What does this one do?
A for loop. Remember the sources, we have the export and the import.
Beautiful. So S really is, you know, S is going a loop. We have two rows. We know there is export row and an import row. So it's doing one for the export, one for the import. Beautiful. And then he makes a button for each one of them. Is that right?
Yes.
Continue. Beautiful. Good job. What does it put the ID? What the ID of the first table will be?
The ID will given it as between the S type.
And the type in the table is, it says export or import.
Yeah.
So one button will be called, the ID of the first button will be button underscore export. The second button will have a name called button import. Is that right?
Yes.
That's beautiful. Good. This is just make it a nice, like kind of a button. And this one allow me to use a function. When I click on this button, that's what happened. Is that right?
Yes.
Beautiful. And when this one is happening, I'm transferring an event called event. And I'm also transferring the name of the button. It really is. It tells me if it's an export or an import. So this function, when I click on the button, okay? When I click on the button, it tells me if it's export or an import. On which button did I click?
Yes.
Very important. So this function knows exactly, because I'm going to use the same function for import and export.
Yeah.
So that's the beautiful. And by the way, what is it going to write on the button itself? It says export or import. So if you want to show it to all of us, where is this one in the screen here? Where is this one? Which buttons does it make?
It's this, the export. Let me
Beautiful, beautiful. And by the way, remember how we did it? We went to the internet and we learned how to make tapes
Yes.
from the Word 3 and we just copied it from them, if you remember. Beautiful, beautiful. Hold a second, go up again, sorry. We copied the structure from the W3, in fact. This is making the button, and hold a second. I'm just trying to help you on this one. To make it elegant, so we ran twice. One, we did the buttons, and one, this is the div that will hold eventually the data for the export and the import. For now, they are empty.
Yeah.
Correct? Now, let's stop a second. So that's what we're getting when we do a refresh. The index table doesn't make anything. If I do right click, and by the way, let's do it here, in fact. Right click and inspect. So we see the structure. Here it is, it's beautiful. We can really see exactly what it does. We have two buttons, those are the top buttons, but then we have, hold a second, here we go.
The exports are the inputs.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to, nope, is this one, nope, this one. Get chart, nope, what is it? Nope, no, but maybe this one. I think here I need to click. Yeah, beautiful. You see under this one, I have the button, see the first button,
Yes.
and really the name of the button is button export,
Yes.
and the second one is button import. That's beautiful, and really outside it says import or export, you see that? And then under that, we have other divs. One div, it's tab export, which is empty because there's nothing inside it. And the second one, which is also empty,
Yeah.
no data inside. But the name of it is step import and the name of the ID is step export. We just made two buttons and two tabs which are empty. Now becomes to be the interesting part. When we click on it, it's gonna activate that functions. We put it inside and that's the end of it. I think we'll leave it for next time. How does it do it, okay? I think that's enough for one time. So stage number one is uploading the data. And in fact, this really should be in the next one. This one is really, we built up and empty. When we click on one of the buttons, it's gonna activate that function and that function will, you teach it next time. What do you say?
Okay.
In fact, this is really uploading and making your data. Is that right? This is the function that really makes, when you click here, it brings all the export inside the table.
Yes.
Let's do right click and do here, inspect, and next time we explain it. By the way, now when you are inside the export, you see where you have a table. It's not empty anymore. It has all this data. And next time we'll go over in here, every row. You see each row of them. You can click on the first one. You can see the years. You see that? The next row, already the data itself. See that? Pretty cool. We'll talk about it next time. I think that's enough for one time. Why don't you summarize that and prepare one document regarding the whole project? Secondly, how do we upload data to the database?
Okay.
And then the next one you will do is describing those buttons and how the click bring the data. And the third one, you will talk about those buttons and how when I click here, it will give me the chart. It will give me the chart. And when I change, that will be 3. So we'll divide it to 3 parts. So it's already become to be a real application. Got it?
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Questions, guys?
Not really.
Jeremiah, you think you're doing good? You can understand it? Can't see you guys. Where's everyone
Yes.
else, by the way? I really wanted to make a comment, by the way. I even wrote it to George, and I will tell you, I do really realize that Daniel, Jeremiah, Brenda, they are there a lot, okay? And it's come into place, you know, Brenda, the application you're trying to control, it's very hard. It's not easy. You know, we did a lot of progress today with the chart as well. Just what we did today, it took you 2 or 3 days to write it down. Am I right?
Yes.
But I do see that you're making a big effort. The same I can say about Daniel, the same I can say about Jeremiah. And I really do, who is there on the end here? Who is this one? Who is sitting next to, who is it? Yeah, Jerome. I noticed that Jerome also start coming. And this is Mildred, isn't it? Next to who?
Brenda. Next to Brenda.
No, this is Brenda. Now Brenda is next to Mildred. Am I right?
Yes.
Mildred, I don't see you enough during the day. I'm serious. Now I see you, but I want you to come more to Academy City. You don't want guys to be behind. Look at Jeremiah and Daniel are very active now, not only on the town, Uganda Town's website, not only on the Feb House, and now they're really designing the Academy City website. You know, it's very important, and this is only by really hard work. And hopefully tomorrow I have a very important meeting. Hopefully a first project will come very soon. So if I want to get somebody involved, it has to be in a high level. Even if I do all the work, I would like you guys to be in a point you can really understand part and take part of it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think I would like to see everyone in certificate too. You have the possibility. Jerome, you have time now, is that right?
Yes.
I think you should really come and join Jeremiah and Daniel on a daily basis. And I do really expect to see you guys there. I know, Brenda, you have school in the morning, but I know that you are there a lot. By the way, this is going to be your baby for Certificate 3. And we will enhance it to be competitor to Power BI. And honestly, this is what I believe. I'm expert on BI, by the way. I wrote a book in 2012, I think I mentioned that. And Power BI, I was the head of Microsoft team in 2003 to develop their server. And believe me, it's all a waste of time. Whoever understand, you eventually will develop that mini application we can use in all our website for management applications. What you guys doing, Jeremiah and Daniel, it's very important. We'll continue with the BizLand as we did with the Feb house. I hope you finish uploading the data so we get that one behind us and we move to the BizLand next week. We continue and finish it up. I don't see Jimmy enough either. What's happening with Jimmy?
He has students that are doing an exam, so he was giving them.
So this is like the end of semester time?
End of term.
Okay, but I would like to see him because he's a very smart guy, which I
Yeah.
think he should really be there. Okay, so we will continue next week. Tomorrow, I don't know if I will have time to, I will see. If I have time, I will send you a link and we'll meet at 12, okay? But I have
Okay.
also a meeting at 11. Let's see how long that one will last. Very important meeting, by the way, for regarding you guys. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. If I finish on time, I will send you a link. Maybe we'll do 1 o'clock. I would like to finish the Feb house. So guys, Daniel and Jeremiah. And when you walk, why don't Mildred join you? Mildred, be next to them, see what they're doing. You can learn a hell of a lot. Okay? Or join Brenda. When Brenda is writing, you know, I think you are in a team together on that project. Why don't you write it together?
Yeah,
Tell me, Mildred.
okay.
Mildred, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you write it together? And that's why you review the whole, you really have 3 chapters already on your application, Brenda.
Yes.
I think they are really beautiful and they can be tutorial for next time in certificate 2. And really there's a lot to learn from them, a hell of a lot.
Yes.
And eventually, in my opinion, the application you're working on could be a whole course and for analysis. And that will replace a course in Power BI.
Okay.
It's okay. Thank you guys. Questions? You're all quiet today. My God, I'm scared.
There are no questions for today.
Did I disappointed you or did I kill you?
No.
I always kill you. I just try to make sure that you don't die. Because it's hard stuff. I'm saying it all the time. Am I right? Don't I say it's hard?
Yes, you do.
It's hard.
But it's getting easier. If you had to take certificate 1, it's a piece of cake for you now.
Yes.
Certificate 1 looks like a joke now to you.
Yes.
And certificate 3 will be even harder. Now, did you notice, Brian, that today you jumped? You learned how to learn.
Yeah.
That's certificate 3. That's the hardest one. And when you pass that stage, you are really in a good, you becomes to be professional. That's the stage which is hard. This is the hardest one. Okay, anyway, I talk too much. Have a good one. Good to see you. And we'll see if I finish on time, I will send you a Zoom and maybe. But I do expect you, Jeremiah, finish the Feb house and continue designing the Academy City.
Yes.
Okay, talk to you. Have a good one, guys.